لا إله إلا الله ولي الصالحين والمتقين وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أما بعد. This is a question and answer session concerning the issue of marriage. Coming after the talk that our brother Abdullah Abu Aaliyah gave. So one question is not book reports and hypos, you know how the brothers do, and you correct me if I'm wrong, and he talks for 2 hours and 57 seconds now. One questions, inshallah, around the topic of marriage. It's for the sisters. Yesterday you went first, today the brothers are going to go first. Hold up. People online. Assalamu alaikum. Is it something?
I said Umar. You changed your name?
Oh, pardon.
I didn't hear you. That's what I said. Fadl Umar.
My question is the issue of Muslim men marrying non-Muslim women.
Okay. So what part about it? What about it? Is it okay? Is it not okay?
Is it okay? Is it not okay? What does it fall under? Compatibility or companionability?
Okay, the Shaykh gonna have to put it in. Compartmentalize that. But if you're talking about is it okay, then it's okay based on the ayat of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Surah Al-Ma'idah, the 5th surah. Allah just mentioned about food and the women in the same verse. Allah Azza wa Jalla said, الْيَوْمَ أُحِلَّ لَكُمُ الطَّيِّبَاتِ. This day, all lawful and good things have been made okay for you, meaning the Muslims. وَطَعَامُ الَّذِينَ أُوتُوا الْكِتَابَ حِلٌّ لَكُمْ. And the food of the people of the book, meaning Jews and Christians, you can eat. وَطَعَامُكُمْ حِلٌّ لَهُمْ. And those Jews and Christians, they can eat your food. So we're talking about meat, and then this is a whole issue. What's the beehive? What's meant by it? We're not going into that. We just get to the part where Allah is talking about the women. One muhsinat. Allah is talking about muhsinat. Min al-ladina wal muhsinat mu'minat. And the Muslim lady who's muhsinat. One muhsinat min al-ladina utul kitaba min qablikum. So here, we want to zoom in on the people of the book. So what is muhsinat? Here, that term means that lady has not given herself to anybody outside of marriage. That's the first thing. And that she's marrying to save herself from being with somebody out of wedlock. That's the first thing. And then Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala mentioned وَلَا مُتَّخِذَاتِ وَفِي Surah An-Nisa وَلَا مُتَّخِذِي أَخْدَانِ here. So you're talking about also the issue of the manners of that lady. So first of all, when you go back, why did Allah reveal that issue for the Muslim man but not the Muslim lady? Why can the Muslim man marry somebody who's traditionally Jewish or Christian, but a Muslim lady can't marry a Muslim lady can't marry a Jewish man or a Christian man? Because Allah made the men those who are the role models, those who are the breadwinners. Most of the time, the lady is going to be an aid to that man, but a follower to that man. So Allah just made that exception for the man who's a Muslim. He can marry from those people. But that particular situation was because they were traveling to lands where those people were. They couldn't marry anything else, and they couldn't just say, well, I have to fulfill my desires. So that's why Allah revealed those ayats for us. But when we talk about the conditions, many times the brothers don't follow the conditions. She has to be somebody really from the Jew and the Christian. She can't be speculated to be that. So, you know, the brothers many times they'll, and I don't mean to pick on anybody, the foreigners in particular, they come here and they'll get, you know, a Caucasian lady. You don't want to marry our women because, you know, it's been said, don't marry the blacks, they, you know, they this, they that. So they go get the white lady as a status. But they say, oh, she's from the people of the book. She's from the Ahl al-Kitab, meaning the Jew and Christian. That lady don't believe nothing. And we've seen some of them. We asked them. She don't believe in nothing. But he'll say, no, I can marry them because Allah said in the Quran from the people of the book. So they have to really be Jew or Christian. Now, what kind of Jew or Christian? Some people say, well, they're not the same Jews and Christians today as they were in the time of the Prophet. Who told you that? They're the same. They're the same. So that is not preferred that you marry them over the Muslim lady. That's another thing that people must understand. It's, you know, the Muslim lady has the right and the preference before the non-Muslim. Before the non-Muslim. You don't get to just marry them because it's an ayah. The Muslim lady, and when the Sheikh talks about compatibility and companionability, this goes, the first thing, the deen. Helps to marry the lady for the deen. You see? So, but there are some circumstances where people do marry them, but traditionally, again, it wasn't just a choice, it was a necessity, and there are rules and regulations. If she's, again, a lady who's not in a relationship, that's muhsin. She's a lady who's muhsinat, غير مسافحات. غير مسافحات means she's not lewd in her dress. غير مسافحات means she's, what we would say, she's modest in dress. The lady with the big butt on the block, with those spandex and the pretty face, that's not غير مسافحات. She's showing everything to everybody. No, that means that lady has some type of dignity about her in her dress, in her mannerisms. She's not flirtatious. All of this is part of the conditions of marrying those people from the book. So you can do it, but, you know, there's a big discussion when and how and where. So that part, you know, if that's what you're asking, that's my answer to that. But the Muslim lady has precedence, she has more right than you marrying somebody from the people of the book because there's an ayah. You might need to answer that.
Okay. Yeah, in regards to what he said about the ayah in Surah Al-Ma'idah, Imam Shafi'i, rahimahullah, was of the opinion that that ayah was abrogated by the one in the Baqarah. But An-Nahas in his tafsir said this is incorrect because the consensus of the Sahaba and the Tabi'een is that that's not the case. Now, Atah ibn Rabah, who's considered the first black, I'm not mentioning this for a nationalistic purpose, but just a fact, a fun fact. The first black mufti in Mecca from the Tabi'een. He said that he considered that it was revealed at a time when the Muslim women were few. When they were few. And Ibn Umar disliked marrying Jews and Christians. So when we look at what other Imam scholars said, like the Hanafis, he said it's allowed to marry from the people of the book, but it's still better to avoid it and their food, unless it's necessary. Ibn Habib al-Maliki said, although we are allowed marrying a Jew and a Christian, it still becomes burdensome. What happens if there's a divorce? In this kind of society, who gets the kids? Who? Okay, she gonna raise them as a Muslim?
No.
So there you go. Imam Shafi said, I prefer that a Muslim man does not marry a woman from the people of the book. And he then said, now, if they are Christians who follow the Psalms of David or the scriptures of Seth and Ibrahim, then it's not allowed to marry them, as these aren't considered holy books, but are admonitions. We hear them say all the time, I read Psalms, I read Psalms. Like what you said, that's not a real Christian. You know, they don't really believe in that. You see, so it's a whole different discussion, but the reality why men are resulting to it is probably because of their desires. And Allah knows best.
Sisters, you have the next question.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
Welcome to the cancer.
Okay, and that's already married.
You gotta change, move your position. The mic is breaking up.
Is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay.
She's in a bad spot.
Okay. You gotta move again. You are in a spot where there's some copper or steel in the wall, so we can't hear you. The mic is cracking up. So move back or to the left or right.
Okay, so
Keep the mic down from your mouth too, because the feedback is going to be loud. Go towards the area where you guys are praying, not the classroom area.
is it okay now?
Yes.
Okay. So does a man that's already married have to speak to his current wife about remarrying like another woman if she's not comfortable with it?
Repeat that one more time.
Okay, so does a man that is already married have to speak to his wife about marrying another woman if he knows that his current wife is not like comfortable with it, like can't marry another woman?
The question is, does a man who's already married, have a wife, have to speak to his first wife about taking another wife?
Right.
The answer is no.
And she added marrying somebody back, so it shows that they were already married.
Exactly.
But that includes a new wife too. So
Yeah, so if he's taking back his ex-wife, he doesn't need permission from his present wife to take a second wife. He doesn't have to do it. He doesn't have to do it. Another case I'll add here, you know, since this is something that is expanding as time is going on, is that you have brothers who are getting married in secret. Nikah is sir.
the cake is cool. They should mind that.
Okay, I'm going to do it. So get married in secretive means that he doesn't tell his wife at all. Now, he hasn't committed anything. He hasn't done anything wrong, but yet he marries a second, third, or fourth, and he doesn't inform his first wife, and he's on the road a lot, and so forth. And it's known as marriage secretive, and in some other terminologies, it's known as nikah al-misyar, marriage of traveler. So, to the point here, I mentioned that to add that to the topic is that no, he doesn't need to inform her that this is what he intends to do, and he goes on and do it. But he, at some point, he has to go ahead and inform her. But he doesn't need his permission. He doesn't need, her permission to do it. No.
Wow. Now, he doesn't live here, so he's not going to get beat up later on. I live here, so me and Amro, you know, almost, that's why I let him answer. No, but the reality is, Sheikh Uthaymeen was asked this question, because this is common. Brothers, sisters, even, Wallahi al-Azim, some Muslim countries have made it part of their law, like in Misr, Egypt, you can't marry another wife without your wife's permission. Now, where they got that from, you know they didn't get it from anything Islamically, but it has been adopted.
So we asked Sheikh what they mean, and he said, no, you don't have to give her permission. He said, but it's better to let her know than to let her find out from somebody else.
That's worse.
Brothers, understand.
That's worse.
It's better to let her know than to let her find out from somebody else. And I made that mistake 20-something years ago when I married my second wife. I didn't tell my first wife. Now, there was a lot of things going on in the house, personal things, and to be honest with you, there was some issues, going on. So for me, I wasn't trying to hide anything, and even that second wife was not really for me. It was to have somewhere that I could take the children or get help with the children, because there were some issues parental in the house with, the state and neglect. So I was advised, marry a second wife to help with the children. So trying to juggle that situation, not for my safety, but the safety of the children, so they don't get abused, because of the anger at me. I didn't tell the wife right away, maybe like just one night, and she found out. I don't know how she found out. She found out through somebody else, and it was like being crucified. So make sure that you let the wife know, if you're able to. Maybe you can't, because there's going to be a marriage and a janazah at the same time. I don't know, but the reality is, don't keep it hidden from the wife, and it's better that you let her know than somebody else let her know. Now, next question from the brothers. No,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, man.
Should I say it to the microphone?
Yes, of course.
I wrote it down to make sure I don't.
That's fine.
Randy.
You want his mind?
Is it frowned upon to marry outside of your country because of a lack of Muslim women in your age range or in your community? And this is regarding to marriage because of the passports and citizenships and stuff like that.
In regards to it being frowned on, that Islamically there's no legislative text or any of the statements of the Imam that say it's frowned upon. However, they have said that it's better to marry from those who are closer to your region, to your custom and tradition and practice. This is well known from amongst Imam Abu Hanifa, rahimahullah. Because what happens is that if a person, like we said, goes abroad, marries and begins marrying the women over there, more so than the ones here, then what happens in result is the sisters here are left without good husbands. And when you talk about the age, then likewise, Imam Abu Hanifa said that shouldn't be in consideration, because the Sunnah of the Prophet was to marry women who were divorced and marry those who were older than him. Look at his first wife, Khadija, radiallahu ta'ala anha. So yeah, answer your question, not frowned upon, but, look at the maslahah, the pros and cons, and enough to that. Because yes, marrying a foreign woman, you're going to find different things. It might even be your appetite, better looks, better cuisine, whatever. But when you look at the pros and cons of having someone who's actually acclimated to your culture, that plays a big role. Who understands you, because understand that cultural differences sometimes affect religious practices. You understand? Cultural differences affect religious practices. So certain practices which, we are aware of and what we implement, she might not be familiar with them or might not even be willing to accept them in the beginning. So that could be a whole nother uphill battle that you could avoid with finding someone who's actually, aware with our culture and Allah's best.
So she wants to listen to, you want a wife to listen to Jay-Z like you, but the foreigner don't listen to Jay-Z like you. So you want somebody that's culturally comparative, like that. That's what you mean?
No. Culturally comparative in the sense that she understands exactly how you were raised in the West and can adapt
and mobile like that.
See, a lot of times these women who come over here, and I'm just generalizing. I'm not mentioning specific cases, but having that cultural bond, it means a lot. You know, having that cultural bond, it means a lot. However, the deen takes precedence. You know, and when you look at women from Muslim societies, if they come from Islamic, backgrounds with their parents, and you talk about generational Islam, where we are like, some of us in this room will be considered second, maybe third generation Muslims, right? So there's a difference in that. But a point here I make is that, sisters, I didn't mention this in the compatibility topic when we spoke about the four Imma, but although Imam Abu Hanifa mentioned it about the revert, but also too, when we marry off our kids, or when we marry off our daughters, or when we ourselves are looking for spouses, sometimes people tend to slide away from marrying revert women more than marrying revert men, because in some instances, that is documented in fact, that a woman might later on want to change her religion and she's going to get the kids. So this is another reason why I can understand why Malik might mention this, because out of the fear. Because normally, but it does happen, whether they come from Syria, Egypt, Indonesia, wherever, they do apostate. And if they don't outwardly apostate, they stop praying, and the one who abandons prayer is a Catholic. But at any rate, not frowned upon, but, look at the pros and cons.
No,
Great sister's turn.
it's sister's turn.
Oh, my question is,
You sound mad. Are you mad, sister?
I'm not mad.
Okay,
I was just thinking about that question that I was going to ask, but
Okay.
I haven't.
All right.
So my question was, if a sister marries a brother, she's already seeking knowledge in a certain place. Thank you. She's already, gaining knowledge somewhere. So she meets a brother and she marries this brother. And they in a relationship, they start vibing or whatever. And the brother decides that that he doesn't want her to seek knowledge where she's getting it from. So how does that work? If he decides that, okay, I got this, I don't think that you need that, but she still wants to remain there. So. But she wants to stay there. So how does that work?
Okay. If you can cut your mic off the feedback, thank you, something here. When we talk about this issue, we have to first know that there are some foundations that we have to learn when it comes to marriage, such as the rights of the wife. Meaning, when we say rights, what the man has to do, what's required for him to do for her as a necessity, and what the woman has to do for the man as a necessity. So we have to know what those things are, to study and know those things. From amongst them, and many people don't talk about this, but from the biggest thing that the man has to do for the woman is teacher. It's the teacher. So a lot of times, if the man is not equipped, then they say it's his job to make sure that it's facilitated for her. So when we talk about that, she's responsible for not only his learning and her learning, but any children that come, that's part of the role of the man. That's part of the Rijal Qawwamuna ala Nisa. Allah has placed the man as an administrator, a caregiver, a provider, someone who's a person who's going to nurture both the woman and the children.
So when it comes to that issue, that's his space, that's his role. But now, if we're talking about in this day and time, she's studying in a particular masjid. We want to be straight 100. These people are Sufi. And they believe in making dhikr in circles and saying together, everybody, Allah, and then 100 people say Allah, and they say Musa, Allahumma, Allahumma. This is against the Sunnah. Or they believe in going to somebody's grave and praying to that one in the grave. It's prohibited. A lot of Sufi groups, that's something that they have as a part of their religion. So if he tells his wife, listen, I'm married to you now, you were studying with those people in that masjid, you can't study with them no more, he's right. She has to obey him. But he has to have a replacement or a solution because she was learning. So that's an example. Or someone might say, well, I don't want you studying at this masjid because that brother, he's off it. Now, we want to be straight. They have mentioned stuff like that. Or you can't take from Muhammad ibn Munir because, Sheikh so-and-so talked about him and he's not on the manhaj of the Salaf. You got to study with us and our masjid. Allah most that. But still, the lady has to, keep fitna out of her house. She has to, try to figure out how I'm going to diffuse this because I don't want turbulence in my relationship. But, that man will be wrong with this issue because that's something that's different. The person is known to be upon the sunnah, but there's some political fighting. The person is known to be upon what's correct, but there's some politics involved. That's different. But still, that lady has to obey her husband. She has to obey him in what's right, what's wholesome for her, what's wholesome for him. So it's a difficult situation. But at the same time, the man has the right, if it's for the well-being of the lady, truthfully and honestly, not something that's bogus. So that lady's going to have to, like the Sheikh mentioned, bring those things to the table before she marries that man. This is what I do, this is, where I go, this is what I study, and, you're going to iron that out before. If you get in a marriage and then now that's a problem, Allah most time, we share and bear some responsibility in that. So Allah knows best, Allah help us. But this is a common issue, and may Allah help us. Amen. Next question, the brothers.
Assalamu alaikum. In terms of this subject, what are some of the awful, maybe even grievous mistakes that even us as fathers, as men make? Like an example where we may.
You want to take the mic, and remember, we want questions. We don't want, not picking on you, just saying,
Yeah.
Because we're online.
Yeah, in terms of this subject, can you speak to some of the mistakes and grievous errors that even us with good intention as fathers, like the one who says to a brother, like, a young brother, and this is a clear example, even openly in public, meaning but it's one person or 10 people who hear him asking the young man whom he has in mind, Aki, are you a virgin? And that young man says no, in the presence of 10 other people. Because we have a lot of this that's going on. And in terms of people they have a good intention, they have a standard, but really what they're doing is outside the boundaries, and there's a lot of mistakes in that regard. Or even a person, and
You're asking the question.
Yeah. What are some of these types of mistakes and errors that that we are making in regards to when we as men, we as fathers seeking marriage, in terms of trying to protect our daughters, but at the same time, either because people don't have specific knowledge or any knowledge about Islamically.
Okay. So let's highlight. So he's asking, is that a mistake for a man to ask somebody, and no, not you, him, I'm asking the sheikh. If it's a mistake, then why you ask the question? Then it's not doing it. If you know that.
we already know it.
So,
Okay, so what's this
so
question?
the thing is this wrong to, ask somebody, are you a virgin or not? And should it be done in private, open, and or there's some other mistakes that we make as men when it comes to this process.
All right, I got the mic. Okay, like we said, first, when we're talking about al-kafa'atu fi zawaj, compatibility in zawaj and marriages, we said the first, take into consideration everything outside of that. I'm going to give you what is the dues first. First is what? Religion. Second is what? Occupation. Third is what? Wealth. And then fourth is illnesses, right? In regards to asking someone to expose their sins, if you know that the man was never married, asking him a virgin for what? But having him getting tested for STD, that takes priority. Are you willing to take a blood test? Because he could have repented for that. So of course that's outside the balance. Anything that would incriminate a person to have him confess to his sin is wrong. Anything. So we said, what are the four things? Anything outside of it is incorrect. This is what the Imam have stated. They didn't look into a person's past, how many women he slept with, or ask her about her body count or whatever. None of that comes into play. And Allah knows best.
The four was what, Shay?
The four? Number one is religion. Okay?
That you asked about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So we said that, remember when I spoke about religion, I said Imam Abu Hanifa said a man who has one parent as a Muslim is incompatible with a girl who comes from both Muslim parents. And the revert, who is the only Muslim in his family, Abu Hanifa said what? He isn't a good match for the girl who had two Muslim parents. You see what I'm saying? All right. The second one is occupation. What do you do? The third one, do wealth. Okay? His ability, does he have a job? You see what I mean? Because as we mentioned before about the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu with Fatima bin Qais, radiallahu ta'ala anha, the Prophet mentioned that Muawiyah is destitute and has no property. He mentioned that as a reason for what? Stay away from it. Another one was known what? To be hard on women. And the other one was what? STDs and stuff, okay? Yeah, health. But we said that one finding or being tested with a handicap after marriage, STD should be eliminated. And brothers too, taking second wives, make sure that the second wife you take gets the blood test. Because I'm going to add this point, it's not related to his question directly, but there have been cases, and there are cases, where a brother took a second wife and he caught herpes and brought it home to his first wife. Okay? So those are the four. I don't know what's best.
I just want to make a footnote with regards to what Imam Abu Hanifa mentioned about the person that has two Muslim parents is not compatible to a person that has one Muslim parent, or, but even that fact, has no Muslim parents. Like us, we don't have Muslim parents. Some people have, my father's Muslim, but my mother's not. We'll say, oh, my mother's Muslim, but my father's not. The mother accepted Islam, his father didn't, And they're not together, by the way. The mother and the father separated. The mother accepted Islam, the father didn't. Or the father's Muslim, but my stepmother is a Jehovah's Witness. Okay. We have some cases like that, and we have cases where I accept Islam and nobody in my family is a Muslim, my mother, not even my father. Tell you, but if we look at Salman al-Farisi, who was Salman al-Farisi? The companions, okay. Okay, what was his background?
Science?
Fireworks.
Who was his parents?
You weren't Muslim.
Okay, that's what I'm looking for. Okay. So, would it be right to say, well,
marrying him is not compatible to marrying somebody that has a mother and a father who's Muslim? No. So what does that tell you? This is not, this is not something all the way across the board. For example, we're Muslim. Ask him, is his mother Muslim? His father Muslim, he died. My mother and father both died. They were Muslim. But there's some Muslims that they have both parents, and that Muslim is doing crack in this day and time, as we talk, real life time. He's tricking, meaning with prostitutes. He doesn't pray, but is he more compatible for a sister who's trying to get married than somebody like me and Shaikhs Abu Aaliyah? Of course not. So, when we talk about context, that's a statement of an imam. It's from the 3 generations. But we're talking about how things change and how things are relevant from one place to another, from one time to another. We have to keep that in mind. And that something that may be applicable may not be all the way across the board. There's some exceptions to the rule. Yeah. Some of our women, they don't come from a Muslim background, but she covered. But the foreigner, she walk around her butt out, tight clothes, hair out. Yeah, you wouldn't even know she's a Muslim. She looked like she's somebody who's Spanish, big earrings. The brothers told me, the Moroccan girl, no disrespect, the Moroccans here, take it easy. His brothers get a little sensitive. I'm not talking about your people and you and your country, but we talk in real time. The brother told me the Moroccan girl all tattooed up right up the street. Yeah, what's up, my nigga? Yo, what's up? And let me get a blood. He said, I thought she was Spanish. So she came in the store and said, Salam alaikum. So he said, Alaikum salam. He said, where you from? He said, I'm from, this place. She said, oh, well, where you from? I'm from Morocco. He's like, what? And she's got a blood in her mouth. So there's an exception to the rule. You know what I'm saying? So let's keep that in mind. As it relates to the issue of, we said again, make that person produce paperwork for testing for a transmitted disease. But it's not just the brother took a second wife and the second wife gave him something. The brothers are marrying sometime the second wife, and the wife is giving him something he's taking back to his other wife. It's not just the brother gave the other wife something. Sometimes the brother's getting something from a woman, man. Yeah. That's real talk. These women, they out here. So we all have to take our precaution. We all have to, let's not forget, before you do anything, Jabir told us that the Prophet said, إِذَا حَمَّ أَحَدُكُمْ يَعْنِي فَلْيُصَلِّ رَكَعَتَيْنِ غَيْرَ فَرِيضَةٍ. Anyone you want to do a thing, let him pray 2 raka'ah and then say these words. If you do that, and you name what you're trying to do, then Allah Azza wa Jal going to aid you. He's going to show you a sign. He's going to, incline you towards that thing. He's going to bless you with that thing. He's going to decree that thing for. It's going to make it easy for us. It's istikhara. Those are design words. It's revelation for a reason. But we leaving all of that out. And just doing our thing. And then we get burnt. We get jammed. Now we're upset. Now the system is bad. Now we hate Islam. Oh, the Muslims this. Oh, that. The brothers this. The man. Come on. So, I just wanted to mention that, I'm not going to turn us to a khutbah, as they say. We're really a khutbah. But these things, we need to, zoom in on some of these things. And Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best. Sisters, we'll take 3 more questions and we're going to break and show to about what time.
Can you explain the differences of the rights of the mother and the wife? What difference is that? I know there is a difference, but who has like more rights, the mother or the wife?
That's the term.
Turn the mic off, sister.
Jazakallah khair.
Jazakallah khair. What do you mean by the rights of the mother?
أيهم يعني الأقدام بحقوقهن على ذلك الشاب وأمه أو زوجها. على وجه. لو عندي يعني زوج وأم أيهما يعني قدام بحقوقهم أمي أو زوجي أيهما يعني أعظم في حقوقهم يعني بينهما على
في حالة الطلاق?
لا من باب عام.
Oh,
the most right. The mother.
Yeah, the mother has the most rights.
And explain why. And what that does between, does that slight the wife? Does that put the wife at a disadvantage or not? And why? And like,
I'm gonna let you take this one.
no,
I'm gonna let you take this one. I'm gonna let you take this one. So I'm trying to think of the situation. All right, who has more rights, the mother or the wife? I'm trying to understand though exactly in which.
for more detail.
Yeah, more detail.
And she have to give me a situation.
Yeah, give me a situation for that, sister, so I can understand it in more detail.
Without a book.
Yeah, without add a little bit, just a slight detail to that. I don't want to miss out anything.
Other of the children or his current wife who has more rights over the children?
Okay, over the man's children. Okay, that's what I wanted to understand. Yeah, that's what I wanted to understand. Okay, we have an issue called al-hadad in the Sharia, which is known as child custody. And hadana, hadana. Was they hadana or hadana, right? Anyway, it's both like Yusuf, right? Juma. So anyway, nonetheless, it goes to the mother. Okay? It goes to the mother. The only time it can go to, the mother, the wife, the ex-wife.
The mother of the children.
The mother of the children.
Not his mother.
No, not his mother. The only time it goes to that mother, the woman who is, the ex-wife, we said, she gets the custody rights. Now, in the Hanabila jurisprudence, when the woman remarries, it instantly goes to the man. Automatically it goes to the man. Because she needs, the wife, she needs to focus or put her attention on her new husband. On the new husband. And then if that man remarries, then they transfer it to his mother. They transfer the custody to the father's mother.
If he remarries.
If he remarries.
Where's the mother of the children at that time?
The mother of the children?
Yeah.
She's still with her husband.
The new husband.
The new husband.
He's got the children.
Yes. And now he remarries,
the children
goes to his mother.
So they can build a new family.
So they can build a new family. Exactly. Exactly. That's the way it goes. Okay? Child custody.
What about Khalatahu?
If his mother's not there? If his mother's not there?
His aunt
on his mother's side. Okay? His aunt on his mother's side. If she's not there. If the auntie's not there. Exactly.
Right.
That's the way it's done in the court system. And unfortunately, I'll add to this. I'll add to this. This is just to give you guys a perspective of.
وهل سقط يعني حقوق يعني أي منهما؟
لا الحق ما سقط.
ومنهم يكونون إذا كان يعني شيء من الجريمة.
Okay, yes. If they're
سقط حقوق يعني أبويه أو هؤلاء.
Okay. When does one lose the rights if there's any type of abuse towards the children? Ta'nif. Proven abuse. Ta'nif, abuse towards the children. Then custody automatically is forfeited as well. But about a point of the women remarrying, because women, they love their children and they're, are afraid to give up complete custody towards, to the ex-husband. So a lot of times too, you have women who would get married and not inform the ex-husband of this, and this is incorrect. This is incorrect because the man has right, the father has right to know who his children are going to be around. And if she's sincere, she needs to put her attention on those, her new husband. So that's the way that the custody, goes.
What about switching it around? Because some women say, well, I have the right to know who my children are around. I don't know that lady. He married that lady. That's not their mother. You wasn't have that shit?
Hey, you wasn't. You wasn't. So the woman, all right, so if a woman wants to know who her children are going to be around, likewise, then she shares, not in the process of him choosing a spouse, but she has a right to know that as well. But she has given up custody the minute that she has or she does remarry. Okay? So that's why I was saying I wanted to understand it. That's what I thought she was saying, when she mentions about
Who has the most right?
Yeah, who has
She
the
didn't
most right.
mention that part at first, but that's what she meant. That was the context.
That's what I wanted to add.
And some of the contemporaries mentioned, like, because we said if it's some proven abuse to the children, but also they mentioned if there's some type of thing that would harm the children, like negligency or drug addiction on either part, mother or father, then that removes the rights of that parent, and some say temporarily until things can be repaired, or sometimes permanently, depending on what that situation detailed in law was best. Brothers, you have one more, and then the sisters have one more.
About yesterday's comment rather than today's, okay?
No, we're dealing with marriage. We're going to deal with the interfaith thing. That's coming, but we're dealing with marriage.
So, Sheikh,
The Khalifa has a question.
I just want to know what are the limits for a divorced family situation when the daughters become of age, puberty.
When the daughter becomes a puberty,
Yes.
she should go live with the father.
Okay.
She goes to the father.
لما يعني في تلك الوقت بدلا في صورها لماذا؟
Go ahead, that's on you.
أنا طالب أنت شيء.
No, that's good, shit. But yes, because he's the wali, he's the wakil. Who will mess with that? He's responsible for her.
But I asked him why when she gets in puberty she goes and not when she's young. That's I added that. So he's going to answer that.
So you look after her. Protect her.
But why not when she's young versus when she's in puberty?
Because she's closer to the mother.
Very important.
Very important.
So she hot.
To Rabiha.
Mother has to.
To Tarbiyah. Because a woman initially teaches a father teaches, as we say, a father teaches a boy how to be a man, the same way a mother teaches a girl how to be a wife. You understand? This is why, what happened? I think it's back. Okay. Oh, yeah, what's that? So, a father, he teaches a boy how to be what? A man. So he said, "Bedlun fi suwariha and fi kibriha," because a woman, you look at a woman or a child, a girl, right? She's raised by her mother properly and correctly, especially if her mother was married, compared to being raised by a single mom. What model does she have in the house when she's being raised by her mother, who's married to her father? She has the example of how to be what? A wife. And also a mother. So this tarbiyah. Once she becomes puberty, she has those life skills. Now it's the father's job because he's what? She's a woman now, and he's responsible for her. He has to, he has to, exactly. He has the rights, especially because now she's in the, the market for marriage. To use, bad terms, but this is why it's the case like that. I mean,
some of them said the same thing about the boy. If the boy is young, he's not in age or stage of puberty. Who does he go with if there's a divorce? The mother, the father. Some will say the father for the same premise that you mentioned about the girl being with the mother so that the father can teach him how to be a man. But now, if the mother, especially if she's single, at the time that boy becomes in puberty, then some say now he goes with the mother. Why? Because she needs what?
Oh, man.
Islam is complete.
Yeah.
Islam is complete. Wow. When you talk about family.
Yeah.
but Islam came to protect the 5 basic essential rights, and this is what you find in Muslim societies. Unlike the environment we're in now, Islam came to protect, the intellect, the honor, the property, the religion, and what? The wealth.
Family?
That's included lineage. That's lineage, yeah. So it came to protect the 5. And you're going to find anywhere around the Sharia, it's related to protecting those 5. And it's done perfectly.
That's why you can't get drunk, brothers. They came to protect your pocket and your mind. No drinking and smoking, getting hot. That's your apple, your intellect. That's why you can't play all these crazy games and all this stuff that blows your mind. Sisters, you have one more question. A good question.
We don't have no more questions.
So who's the 5 again?
Excuse me?
Who's the 5 again?
Islam came to that. Starting with the intellect.
Intellect, wealth, honor, property, and religion. So you see here, like, for example, why is a person, for example, we talk about aql, intellect. This is why an intoxicated person is flogged. Wealth, this is why a thief, if he steals the required amount, which for the capital punishment, his hand is cut. Okay? Lineage, this is why the adulterer is stoned and the fornicator is flogged. Religion, this is why the innovator is boycotted. Okay?
And sometimes they say, your honor, and sometimes they say, yani and hayat, life. They use the different words,
different
words,
words.
but they mean the same.
That's honor.
So honor will be your lineage.
Yeah.
And hayat, yani, life will be, yani,
This is why someone's murder, what happens, murder is capital punishment. Murder is capital punishment.
That's why you could eat pork if you're on a situation and there's nothing else, And many scholars say, don't just eat enough to survive. Eat enough to be satisfied so you don't have to go back. Same thing with hunger. So don't just drink enough to not, be dehydrated. Some of them say drink more as much as you so you don't have to go back. But it's out of necessity because you're going to die. Yeah. We're going to be eating soon, right?
Yes.
Okay. So before we eat, how much money is that?
Right here?
Yeah, right there.
$50.
Okay, who's going to match me this 50? Who's going to match me this 50? We're doing, on this day, competing. Who's going to match me this 50? This money is going to the chef. What you're going to eat today, the plate going to cost you $50. It's going to blow your mind.
So you might not really want to eat this food because he just told you Islam came to preserve 5 things. Your mind can't be blown. The food is going to knock your boots off, and if you have socks on, you're going to have holes in it. $50, this is out of my pocket. I'm giving it to the chef. Who's going to match me? Let's compete. Do I need to add another 50 to make 100? Give me 5 people to match me 50 right now, brothers. Let's go. Okay, I got somebody match me. Give me 4 more people match me 50.
You got another brother.
Come on, raise your hand. Let me see your hand.
You got a Zell?
Yeah, we'll give the Zell to you.
Okay.
I'll give it to you.
That's 2.
That's 2. We need 2 more. Match, match, match. Come on, y'all ain't broke, man. Somebody else match 50. We need 2 more people.
Right here, I'll do it.
Okay.
Oh, Ibrahim.
Okay, thanks. Because, again, we provide the food, we want you to eat, but, me again, when it's business, I pay for my food. If it's leftovers, I eat free. I'm the husband, I'm the king, I'm the sheikh. Don't you know? That's for sure. Let's go. Hit the flow. But when it's business, I support. And this shows you not to be stingy, to be responsible, and to be appreciative. We could have Reese Kennedy, man, but
I'm giving them back to 50. There's 100 on the table.
Okay, very good. All this is more.
Yeah, that's
Okay, so they're going to live in a home.
Okay, and Malin, everybody. Yes.
Stop the.
Brother, I'm going to give you a phone number now for the Zelle.